And I think that's good. And we're live. Yes, we are. Good morning, everyone. Are we live, Michelle?
Yes,
Are we?
ma'am.
We're there. We're ready. We're good. All right then. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to what is it now? The spirit world sees all. I get so confused sometimes because we've got so many balls that we're juggling in the air all over the place. Now, first of all, let's say good morning to my spirit guide Gregory, who is always, as always, standing to my right side. And guess who is on the sofa today? I know you can guess. Hello, darling. He lifted his head. He's stretched. He's off the sofa. He's running to the corner. He's deserted me. That's my puppy Cachorro. Yes, there he is. He's gone. Yeah, he's gone. It's this time, is it? And he disappeared. And of course, we also have my smiling little, beautiful, little, charming. Are you little? Yes, she is quite short, actually. We have my Michelle, who is once again sitting on the floor. Say good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
Now you can see, right? You can see already I'm in a perky mood. Oh, yes, I am. I have no idea why I'm in a perky mood, but it seems that I am. And so I think today we might have a little bit of fun. Now, before we begin, we are getting so many requests for consultations, and you all know that I do consultations. However, as much as I love all of you, and I do, there are some of you who are saying, I want a consultation on Monday, next Monday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It doesn't work quite that way. And we're getting people who say, I want it as soon as possible, sometime next week. My loves, it doesn't work that way. So what I would like you to do is, if you want a consultation, you have to understand that we have an appointment system and we have a little bit of a waiting list. Now, a few years ago, my waiting list was in the region of 5 years. I don't do that anymore. I refuse to do that anymore. I refuse to be inundated by these things. So we do try to get to see people as quickly as possible, but I won't be seeing anyone before the mid to the end of January anyway. So, I don't want to put you off having a consultation. I feel as if I'm saying, if you want one, you can't have one. And I'm not saying that, but you do have to understand that, it's a little bit like a doctor's or a hospital or a lawyer's or anywhere else. You make an appointment and they tell you when they can fit you in. So as much as I know that you are eager beavers, some of you, and you do want to have that consultation like yesterday, I always say to people, whenever you need it, not want it, understand, but need it, whenever you need something, it will be there and it will present itself to you. Sometimes we have people who they're desperate, they need, but they don't necessarily need in the same way. And it's not just about our needs, those of us who are on this earth, it's about the needs of those in the spirit world as well. Are they ready yet? Are they prepared yet? And so on and so forth. So it happens in its right time. But of course, some people will call and they really do need. They have a need. They've lost a child, or they're suffering with something, or they're whatever it is that they have a real need for. This is when miraculously, coincidentally, we just had a cancellation, and that happens quite often. So even though we might say to you, we can't fit you in until such a time, if you really do need, the spirit world makes it happen. Just trust in them. They'll make it happen and you'll get your consultation in that right time. So as much as we love you, and as much as I'm very happy to give consultations, and I love to do it, and I see the benefits for so many people, what we on this earth plane consider urgent is not necessarily what God considers urgent. It is not necessarily what our parents in the spirit world might consider urgent, or whoever it is there who you would like to get in touch with. So I promise you, Michelle promises you will get your appointment as soon as possible. But just so you know, even if I did have a cancellation next week, I'm keeping it for time off for myself, right? So there you have it. So, but don't let me put you off. Just keep on trying and be patient. All right.
Normally, if we have a consultation, if we have a cancellation, I try to fit whoever
Yeah.
in there I can.
Yeah. But Christmas is coming and it's
It is.
Thanksgiving next week, you see, which is why if I have a cancellation for next week, Michelle's not going to be here. She's going to be playing, whatever you do. What are you doing for Thanksgiving, Michelle?
We are going camping.
Oh,
We're having Thanksgiving dinner.
You see, so
and
even
then
if you
going camping.
wanted me, you can't have me because she won't be here to set it up. So you're going camping?
Yes.
All right.
We're going out to ride 4-wheelers and bonfires and smoke meat.
You're not going glamping, are you? Do you know what
There is no glamping with us.
You know what glamping is, right?
There is no glamping.
It's camping in a glamorous way, which is what I would do. I would not, for instance, I would not be in a tent. I would be in I'd be in a nice little cottage. I don't want anyone to cook for me, but certainly I might want someone to clean up after me. I'm happy to put on walking boots and climb mountains. I've done things like that. And in fact, those of you who have read my book, Not You Own the Power, Proud Spirit, there is a picture on the front of the cover with me sitting high up in a mountain, which is in Arizona, with my boots and my t-shirt, and I look ready to go. And we did actually go walking through the mountains in a patchy terrain, which Gregory loved and I loved because I was able to see where he came from and a little bit of how they lived, and it was amazing. Right, so do we have anyone actually? Is anybody around? Do we have anybody watching? Is anybody there? I love to say that. Is anybody there? See, I'm warning you, I'm in that mood, so let's go. What have we got here?
We're actually going to start with Nettie's question, even though I don't believe she's with us this morning.
No, Nettie, I think she couldn't make it this morning,
Yes.
but she can watch this recorded.
But
so,
she emailed
hi,
hers in.
Nettie.
So, it says, not sure I'm going to be able to listen to the show tomorrow, but I was wondering if essentially God's will is done in most things as in life and death. Then what is the point for asking for healing? Are you asking for an extension of life? Or are you asking for ease in the healing process? And does our involvement in the healing matter, and in what ways?
That's a whole pile of questions.
It's a whole lot.
So I'm not going to answer all of those because quite frankly, there are other people who are wanting to have questions answered. Of course, the big picture is that God decides, but he also gives us free will, and our free will can lead us into all kinds of things. For instance, if your free will is to smoke like a chimney and you enjoy it, that's great, but please don't be surprised if your lungs seize up and you ruin your body. It's your free will, it's your choice to do that. And, God is not dictating our actions. He's not dictating our choices. He's just putting us into environments where we make our choices. For instance, in our Everything is Attitude show, which I do with my wonderful co-host, Al Pisano, we talk about everything is attitude, and it is. So God puts us in a situation, for instance, or we are put into, I'd say God as if he's a being, and maybe for some of you he is, but for me he's more of an energy and a beautiful and a pure energy that is out there. So let's say we are put into that position, a certain position, and where we're struggling, where it's difficult, where life is not easy. I'm sure some of you will know what that feels like. In fact, many of us know what that feels like. But here is our choice. Our choice might not be in the environment, and our choice might not be in the situation that we're in, but we have a choice of attitude. Do we sort of make the best of it, or do we make the worst of it? Are you a person who has a glass half full, or are you a person who has a glass half empty? That's got nothing to do with God and God's choices. It's got nothing to do with whether we get sick or we don't get sick in certain environments and situations. It's got everything to do with our attitude. If a doctor says to you, if you don't lose weight, you'll be a diabetic and you'll be in a wheelchair thereafter in the next 10 years, and you continue to eat all the white flour and all of the fat and the awful stuff that you've been eating, it's not God's choice that you've got diabetes. It's your choice that you've got diabetes. If you get diabetes, which is a type 1 diabetes, and Michelle and I were talking about this just yesterday, if you have a type 1 diabetes, which is sort of to do with your body and it's something that you simply, you did not bring it on by yourself. However, you can do things, behave in certain ways that don't exacerbate the problem. But some people think, oh, well, I can do anything I like, and then whoopsie, I'm in a coma. And is it God's will that you're in that coma? No, it's your choice, because you drank the beer, you ate the sugar, you did all the things that you know are poisonous to your system. So I'm not saying that everybody does that, and I'm not saying that people suffer simply because of what they do to themselves. But a lot of what happens to us is our own choice, our own doing, and it's our own actions. And if you can't find the joy and the happiness in the smallest of things, then you need to switch your attitude. You need to change your attitude, because God gives us things to be joyful about. And we may not feel like it. We may be moaning and complaining. We may be thinking, oh, God dealt us a lousy hand and all the rest of it. I never think that. I could have over the years. I know that Michelle never thinks that, because every time she walks through this door, even when she's sick, she's got a smile on her face and says, okay, let's go. What are we going to do today? She comes in with a joyful attitude because she chooses to, not because life is perfect for her. I choose to, not because life is perfect for me. I choose to because what is the alternative? Michelle, what is the alternative?
I don't want to think about that. People are so grumpy.
Miserable life and happiness. So we have choices in life. I'm going on. I've gone off at a tangent. I didn't mean to, but I did warn you. I'm in that mood. So let's have another question. I don't know if I've answered Nettie's question or not, because I think I've lost the plot. Let's have another question.
Okay, we have one here from Dean.
Good morning, Dean. You better be happy this morning.
And
he always is.
He always is happy.
And Dean, my darling Dean, he has all kinds of problems and issues that he would never tell you about unless you know him well. But he's got his, demons that he suffers. He's got all sorts of issues, but he laughs and he finds the joy in things. You better be a good question, Nadine. Did you have a question? Did you have a question?
He did.
Okay, let's go.
He's my biker friend.
I know, he's lovely. I love Dean. Go on.
He said he wants to know, Rosemary, if when you pass, will you become a spirit guide like Grey Eagle?
Oh gosh, no.
And what determines if a person becomes a spirit guide? Not rushing things, but just wondering.
Not rushing things. It occurred to me the other day, I'm sorting out my cupboards and I'm sorting out my drawers and I'm getting rid of things and I'm moving, and all of a sudden I thought, am I on a subconscious level getting ready to pop my clogs? And
is that why you donated to the food drive?
No. No. And I think it's just because it's time. It's sort of like a spring cleaning thing,
fall cleaning,
albeit winter. What was the question?
He wanted to know if you were going to be a spirit guide, or what determines if you become
a
spirit guide.
A spirit guide is a very, very highly evolved spiritual entity. Now, there's nothing highly evolved about me, I can tell you. So, no, I've still got a long way to go. And truthfully, I mean, look what spirit guides actually do. The poor Gregory. He's put his hand on my shoulder. He's got me to contend with. Would you like that? The difficulties and the traumas and all of that, and having to teach me, and he's laughing. So, hey, would I want his job? Don't think so. No, but Dean, it was a good question, but no. Right, let's have the next question.
Oh, it's gonna be one of those mornings.
Uh-oh, we've got somebody coming to the door.
Okay.
I actually think it's the frontier man. He probably is just going to leave a parcel. Yeah, he left it.
Rosa would like to know if we could please add her daughter Michelle to the healing page. I put a note in there. I already did.
Okay, Rosa. Yes, we did it already. And good morning, Rosa, first of all. Right, the UPS just delivered my new whatever that is, router. So if anyone out there is having issues, problems, all sorts of things going on with your internet, it could be me. I think I said this yesterday. It could be me. It could be our service. Let's be hopeful that this new router fixes the issue. Right, let's go.
Okay, we have Sharon on here.
Morning, Sharon.
And we have Kitty on here.
Morning, Kitty.
And we have... Okay, those are the only two I see that were the winners. And your packages all went out this morning in the mail.
Yes, for all of the winners of the competition, we did have to wait. We didn't have quite enough of the new book, A Walk in the Clouds, so we had to order more. And we didn't want to send them out piecemeal because then we might have forgotten who we sent out and who we didn't send out. So the winners, you should get your books. Is it 6 to 10 days?
I think it's 6 to 10.
Actually,
I don't think it's that long. Rosa's package will be going out tomorrow from the books that she got. And
okay, so
it'll be 6 to 10 days for her.
So, all right. So within a week, if you don't have them, please let us know. Email Michelle and email the office, Rosemary at rosemaryaLtea.com, and Michelle will start tracking.
They went out
for you.
yesterday.
But they went out yesterday. The mailman came. I personally put them out at the door. Michelle packed them all, did all the hard work, and I just moved them out the door so the mailman could pick them up. That's because I come in late on Wednesdays. All right, next question. Do we have a question anywhere in there?
Yes. Sharon has, when a loved one passes, people are apt to say they're in a better place. But are they? And if so, what does that say about our physical world?
Well, come on. If you look at the physical world, it's a bit rough, isn't it, out there?
Scary.
And it's our choices too. It's all about our choices because, if you just look at the pollution, we can go on and on about this world. We don't want to do that today. I don't want to get us depressed, but I can assure you that because I've been there, I've traveled over, the air is spectacular. You can actually breathe. Another thing about the spirit world that is absolutely brilliant, and it has to do with, I think, it has to do with, first of all, our etheric body. It has to do with the fact that we're able to see in a very different way than in a physical way. But the colors are brighter, clearer, more beautiful, sort of more vibrant in the spirit world. So we'll see a beautiful pink rose here, and we'll be amazed at the color. But that same pink that we see here, we'll see in the spirit world. But it will almost be sort of, how can I put it? It's almost like it's backlit. It's almost like there's a light to it and a vibrancy to it. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. So in so many ways, much better, much more beautiful environment. However, remember, it's all about us as well, because there's no hiding, is there? We can't hide who we are. We can't hide if we're a mean person. It will show in our aura, and everybody out there will see it. We will see. We have to take a really good look at ourselves. So sometimes it's very hard. We have to face a very harsh reality of who we actually are and who we had an opportunity to be, and perhaps didn't take that opportunity to be nicer, kinder, and so on and so forth. So in some ways, dealing with our own self can be very much harder, but the world itself, the environment itself, is beyond beautiful. I happen to think that this world that we are here on here now, this planet Earth, is the most amazing and astonishing and beautiful. Unfortunately, man has done a real number on it, and and so many things are irreversible. So much of the destruction is irreversible, but I think it's still an incredible and a beautiful place. And some places, if you go to Hawaii, for instance, if you go to certain parts of Italy, to Greece, to there's an incredible beauty about South Africa, and the majesty of Tabletop Mountain and all of that sort of thing. So you can point to so many different. The sunsets in the Far East are the most astounding I've ever seen in my life, and I've traveled all over the world. So there is, please don't think there's no beauty in this world. And again, it's about attitude. If you look for it, you'll find it. But if you just all you want to do is moan and complain and have a glass half empty, it is at the end of the day your choice. Right. What are you laughing at?
You.
Why?
Because you sounded like an old movie star right there.
I did?
You did. To me, you did.
Oh, okay. All right. Which old movie star?
I don't know. It was like
was
from a
it John
Western.
Wayne, was it?
No, it wasn't a John Wayne
Get
thing.
off
But
your
it was.
horse and drink your milk. That's
But
John
it was
Wayne,
definitely
right?
like a Western movie style right
All
there.
right. I warned you, the mood. I'm going to feed the Christmas cakes later. I made a Christmas cake for Michelle for Christmas. Woo! We have 2 Christmas cakes I have to feed now. Right, let's go. Come on.
All right, Randy.
I'm now being very serious, everyone. Right.
I'm trying. Okay, so Randy wants to know, do you believe in Mercury in retrograde causing havoc on humanity?
I do believe, actually, I'm not going to point particularly to Mercury in retrograde, but I do believe that, our solar system, the planetary systems, the energy that swirls and whirls and is beyond our comprehension, isn't it? It really is. We know intellectually, we know that this earth plane of ours is like a little tiny grain of sand. We know that, or a little tiny piece of rice, grain of rice or something. We know, compared to the universe, that we're just a speck, a little dot. However, all of those other things, and there are so many specks and dots out there that we don't even see, not even with the most powerful telescopes. And in fact, it's always amazing to me that we think we know what there is out there, and then someone invents a more powerful telescope, and all of a sudden we discover more that's out there. So it sort of goes on, as my grandson would say, he's only 6, he would say, into infinity. And or he has all these
To infinity and beyond. Toy Story.
Yeah. Anyway, so what am I trying to say here? So, of course, everything is energy, and we are just part of this planetary system. So we are moving and swirling amongst all the other planets that we can see, and then beyond that, there's other stuff that we don't even see, we don't even know about. So I do think, of course, that our world is affected by what is going on in the universe, and the energy that is swirling around out there will affect our planet and will, to some degree, affect us, and and affect who we are and what we think and how we're feeling and so on. However, again, I'm pounding this morning. We are coming back to attitude, because I do understand that I'm not a naive thing. I fully understand that there are wars throughout this world. I fully understand that there are people, even as we speak, sitting in jails that you wouldn't put a dog in. I do understand that there is rape and drugs and awful stuff going on, and sometimes people get into these things through absolutely no fault of their own. Girls are kidnapped. Boys are kidnapped, if it comes to that. But so many things happen in this world that we have no choice about. However, again, we do have a choice in attitude. And as much as I'm not saying that someone in a prison cell unjustly imprisoned or whatever. I'm not saying that they should have a great attitude. Of course they shouldn't, but we know that survival is about our attitude. Survival is about staying strong. And in a weird kind of way, God has given us this incredible mind of ours, and sometimes our mind, in order to help us to survive, can take off and go some other place. There's a there is a saying that, can't remember exactly what it is now, but you can imprison the body, but you cannot imprison the mind. You can control the body, or other people control the body, but they cannot control the mind if you can hold on to it. It's a rough world out there. It's a cruel world out there, but there are pockets of joyfulness, and we should never forget that, ever. Right, what we got now? I know you should, come on, let's go.
Well, I flipped over to the email for just a second, and I received an interesting email from Dean, and no, that's not what I said, Dean. I said we're gonna bonfire and cook food. I don't know where you got that.
Okay.
My face is a little purple right now, isn't it?
Okay, moving on.
Harish is on. He said he bought Proud
Harish.
Spirit and was told to read The Eagle and the Rose first to understand and enjoy the book more. He wants to know if it's a prequel to Proud Spirit.
No, I suppose in some ways it is. Basically, I always, you don't have to do this, but I advise people, if you want to get to know me, you want to get to know who I am and what I do, and to understand more fully what it is that I do. The Eagle and the Rose is that first book that introduces me to all of you, and it also introduces you to the kind of work that I do, and not just that, but it introduces you to the way that I work. And the postman's here. We've got people coming to the door all over the place. I know. So,
this would be big enough.
so we're getting envelopes and things. Could you take it outside for me, please? Thank you. So, where were we? So The Eagle and the Rose was the first book, and it just really tells you, it sort of gives you a real insight into who I am. Not just as a spiritual medium and a healer, but who I am as a person. It also gives you an insight into the way that I work, because every medium works differently. Every person who has communication with the spirit world, everyone who does that does it in a different way. Not necessarily a better or a worse way, but just in a different way. So that's the first book, and that's why I say to people, if you want to know really who I am and what it is that I actually do, read The Eagle and the Rose. Then along with that, a couple of years later, I wrote the book Proud Spirit. I wrote the book, a lot of the stuff in Proud Spirit was inspired by the fact that I was actually able to go to the Superstition Mountains in Phoenix, and that is where the Apache hid out when things got really tough, and the US Army came along and the annihilation of the Native Americans began. Luckily they were not annihilated. We Westerners, not knowing any better, we did try, didn't we? We really tried very hard, not we personally, but we tried to annihilate a culture we didn't understand, and we saw them as a threat and so on and so forth. And I think that those wars were inspired by tremendous greed, because we wanted the land. I'm saying we, the Western world, we wanted the land, and we were going to get it by hook or by crook. We now do value the Native American community very much so in my case. And so in those dark times of war, the Apache particularly were known as the fiercest nation and the fiercest warrior nation, which they are. Grey Eagle is listening to me very carefully. I'm trying to sort of represent who he was, and certainly there are no accidents. Grey Eagle came to me and helped me because he is a warrior, and he knew that I'm a warrior too, a trait given to me by my daddy, but I'm very much a warrior, although in a much quieter way. My students will always say to me, if I'm ever sick, I want you as my advocate, because they know that I will fight for them. I try to fight for the rights and justice of people whenever I can. I'll do it in a nice way, but if it doesn't work in a nice way, then I might do it in a not so nice way. But I am a warrior. So the proud spirit was actually sort of inspired. I went there, I walked the Apache Trail, I went up into the mountains. You'll see on the photo, Harish, that really is me sitting up in the mountains with my boots on, walking up there and sort of getting a feel for the terrain. And also I write about my experiences on the Apache Trail a little bit, which was stunning and amazing to me. So that's that book. And then, then I got so many emails from people saying, we want to learn, we want to know what can we do and how can we meditate and so on, which is why I wrote my third book, which is You Own the Power, which gives you exercises that you can do. It helps people to sort of figure out, perhaps they don't want to go to a class, perhaps they just want to do it for themselves or by themselves. And You Own the Power basically means that we own the power to do whatever it is we want to do. And again, we come right back to attitude. And then there are sort of little books in between. I wrote some books for Italy and also for the Spanish market. I wrote some books for I actually wrote a book for not Japan, yes, Japan actually, and of course I can't read it. I can read the English version, but I can't read the Japanese version. So they come in line, so you can read them any which way you like. But I would advise anyone who wants to know more about me and how I actually work and who I really am. You'll probably find that information in The Eagle and the Rose, which is an astounding and profound book, even though I wrote it myself. And I say astounding and profound because it was out 22 years ago. You can still get it in the bookstores. If you want to know more about that, email me, rosemary@rosemaryaLtea.com. It is now a classic. It's an official classic. And the amount of people who have written to me over the years telling me how affected people who were dying, people who were suffering loss and grief, and the amount of people who have buried that book with their loved ones because it gave them comfort during times of sickness and so on, is very much overwhelming to me. And I feel very humbled by the fact that I was able to write the book, and I feel more humbled still that there are so many people out there, hundreds of thousands of people out there who've read that book and been affected by it. So I'm going to thank all of you for all of your help and support during the work that I have been doing for the last 30-something years. I know I don't look old enough. Actually, when you get up close, I really do. But anyway, let's have another question, shall we? Or a comment, even.
Harish actually had a follow-up question.
Go for it.
A follow-up question, and said, which book would you recommend for him and his wife, because they're grieving over the loss of
The Eagle and the Rose.
The Eagle and the Rose.
With that, hands down, The Eagle and the Rose. They're a matter of life and death. All of the books have stories to inspire and to help, but if you're grieving the loss of a child, there are 2 or 3 stories at least. There's the story of Louise, there's the story of David, there's the story of Mark, so that's 3 at least off the top of my head. Oh, there's the story of the little girl and the tiger, which is one of my favorite stories. Maybe I'll tell you that one day. But
I liked Peter's story.
Peter, he wasn't, I was thinking of sort of a loss of a child, but the first story about Peter, and Peter was really Simon. So when you read it, Peter's really Simon, and wonderful boy, and his grandmother was wonderful, wonderful, a wonderful, wonderful person. But the book opens with that very first story, and it is a great story, right? All right, let's go. I think we've talked enough about books now. Let's go for it and see what
All
else we
right.
got here.
Kat is on, and
Good
she
morning, Kat.
says, "Hello, Rosemary. I lost my grandmother last year, December, and she died in my hands suffering from diabetes. I've not been okay ever since. Please
No.
help."
Well, the fact that you held her in your arms as she died is such a wonderful gift, Kat. I mean, I know how traumatic it is. I know how hard that must have been for you, but what a beautiful and a wonderful gift that you were there with her, that you held her as she was dying, that you gave her comfort, and that comfort would have helped her to make her journey to, let's say, to the other side. I am sure that she's with you. I'm sure that she's around you, and try if you can to look on the positives, because you had those last moments with her, and so many people that I talked to were not able to get to the bedside of their loved one before they died. So many people who've died in traumatic circumstances, accidents, murder, suicide, so on and so forth. Their loved ones have not been able to be there with them in that moment of passing. So what a glorious and a wonderful gift that you had. So please embrace it, and have that attitude of yay, because you were there for her and you helped her as much as you could. I'm sure that she'll be popping in to see you from time to time, and I'm sure that when you need her, she will be there to help you too. Let's have a next question.
The next one is from Randy.
Morning, Randy.
And he said, "Have you ever heard of mediums getting sensations of the pain that the person they're connecting with had?
Absolutely.
For instance, migraines."
Yep. I have, and it's happened to me too. I can remember in the very early days when I first started doing this, I had a lady who came through from the spirit world, and she had throat cancer. She died with throat cancer. And instead of simply saying to me, "Rosemary, I had cancer and it was here," she decided that she was going to show me. And basically, because everything is about energy, she literally imposed those feelings onto me. I had to dive up out of the consultation, leaving behind a couple of people looking at me so bewildered, as I gagged my way out into the bathroom and threw up. So yes, it is possible. However, an experienced medium, a true medium, an experienced medium will know, if it happens to you once, you're not going to let it happen again. It's just not on. You control it. I'm always saying this to my students. You control the energy that is around you. Don't let it control you. And when you are connecting with those in the spirit world, I'm lucky because I have Gregory who is with me, so he makes sure that things are running smoothly. But he also helps me to deal with circumstances. I mean, sometimes the stories that people tell me from the spirit world, and the people who I'm talking to, I'm giving the consultation to, they are so moving and so powerfully overwhelming and sad. It's very hard for me to become so emotional when people tell me these stories. And I often just want to sit down and weep for the sadness of those people, those other people. However, I'm professional. I have a job to do. If I want to weep about it, I wait until the consultation is over and then I go and weep about it. If I, don't feel comfortable in a situation, I have Gregory with me, and between the two of us, we work through it. But also there is a certain amount of me taking control. So if someone in the spirit world tries to impose something on me, no, that is not going to work. So, so I explain to them firmly, you don't need to show me. All you need to do is just tell me. So yes, it does happen. But if a medium can't control that, then they need to work on whatever it is they're doing so that they're more in control of what is happening to them. Nobody wants a headache. Nobody wants the sensation of what it feels like to have throat cancer. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to do that to yourself? So you don't need to. So, right.
Kitty would like to know,
Yes, Kitty, good morning.
can we wear out our spirit family by being too needy?
Oh, well, I do remember once I had a habit at one time, again in the early days, of saying to Gregory, well, what if this, and what if that, and tell me about so-and-so, and what if I do this, what if I don't do this right, what if I do da-da-da-da-da-da. Not even giving him an opportunity to say anything back to me very often, and it was fairly regular. I was certainly very needy. I needed, for various reasons, I needed to make sure that I was doing the right thing. But there was one day, and I'm lucky because Gregory is he's very gentle. He can be very firm and very tough, don't misunderstand me, but he's very gentle and very kind to me. And this particular day, I was sort of going at it, battering him with all these questions and so on. And he looked at me and very gently, very kindly, he said, Rosemary, you're making my ear bleed. I was horrified. In other words, of course, he really wasn't making my ear bleed, his ear bleed. What he was saying to me is, you're hurting me with all of these questions. Calm down. And at least ask one question at a time and let me answer it before, So, Kitty, just be mindful, don't be pounding your loved ones in the spirit world with questions. Ask a question and then be patient and allow them to answer. So, sort of slow down a little bit. I don't think you can wear them out. I think they're all there for you. But I do understand why you need, and I do understand why you are pushing it a bit. So just imagine if somebody walked through your front door and barged in with all these questions and you were sort of standing like this and you didn't have time to even know what was going on. So when you walk through the front door, remember you're a guest, you treat people nicely, and that's what you have to do when you talk to those in the spirit world. You're a guest, stop bombarding them. That's as simple as that. But they'll always be there for you, my love. Yes, next question.
Rosa.
Yes, good morning, Rosa.
It says, Rosemary, a man was trying to have a relationship with me, and I don't want to be with anyone but my husband. Do you know if he had part in trying to make this happen?
I'm sorry, what? Who had a part in trying to make it happen?
The husband who's passed. If he had a part in trying to make it happen.
I didn't realize the husband had passed. Well, I don't know. I don't know you. If you really want to find more in-depth answers.
You had a consultation with her.
I did. Well,
the Italian books.
Oh, that, Rosa.
There you go.
Oh, right. All right then. Yes, I do know you then. All right. Let me think for a minute then. I can't remember every consultation I've ever had. You will remember much more what I said, Rosa, than I did. So, look, if you are married and your partner passes, if you had a good relationship, a nice relationship with that person, or perhaps even if you didn't, if someone loves you, if someone in the spirit world loves you, of course they're going to want to see you happy. They're going to want to see you perhaps even with another partner. Did your husband make it happen? I have no idea. I haven't a clue. We'd have to have another consultation with me to actually to see or to hear what it is your husband has to say, but I don't think you need to do that. I think you just need to, you as much as hard as it is and as much as you love someone, by all means connect with them, by all means, talk to them, be with them and so on, but not to the detriment of your own health and your own happiness, because that's not what they want for you. Let's move on. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize
It's okay.
I have so many consultations.
I know.
So come on, yeah, let's go.
Mary is on,
Morning, Mary.
and she said, "Can Gray Eagle tell me where the toxic negativity in my life is coming from?"
Well, I'm not sure, Mary, you're going to like this answer because Grey Eagle says it's coming from within yourself, not the toxic thing, but in some ways, apparently, according to Grey Eagle, you can't help yourself, you're embracing it, you're encouraging it in some way. You probably think you're not, but just being around people who are toxic, why are you still there? Why are you standing still about it? Why are you not getting rid of the people who are toxic in your life? So in some way, I think, and I actually understand what he's saying because, I was in a very toxic situation for a long time, but I didn't want to let it go for various reasons. Maybe you think we can fix something, or maybe we just, we don't like to upset people, or maybe we're trying to do the right thing, but it's actually not the right thing for us. It just turns out that it might be the right thing for everybody else. So I think that you in part are responsible for this, and my love, try if you can to be strong enough and positive enough and powerful enough to say no more. I'm moving on, I'm moving forward. We have choices. So if you're allowing this to happen to you, it's coming from within you. You need to just take a little look and see why it is that you are holding on to this. Why are you letting this affect you? Why are you not saying no to this? And once you learn why it is, once you learn about yourself and you learn why you're holding on to this, you will also learn that you don't have to, and that you are strong enough and you are powerful enough to walk away from it. Okay, let's have a next question, shall we?
The next one is from Lori.
Good morning, Lori.
She says, if you have visitors from the spirit world who you don't really recognize and don't know why they're here, do you just thank them for the visit and forget about it?
Well, yes. I'm not sure about forgetting about it, but yes. I can remember many years ago, before I even started work as a medium, and this was the time when I thought I was actually definitely going crazy. I was definitely going the way of my grandmother, so I didn't tell anybody what was going on. But I would be sitting on a sofa and I'd look up, and on the sofa opposite me there would be some guy, and I'd look and say, oh, hello, who are you? Now that is not the natural thing to do when you see someone from the spirit world, as some might put it, when you see a ghost. You either freeze, you're terrified, or you run like heck out of the house. But to say, well, who are you? How are you? What are you doing here? And many times I saw people that I didn't know. We have to understand sometimes people could just coming to look at us. We also have to understand that there are many of our ancestors we never knew, we never heard of, but maybe they're part of our family. So, you say hello, you sort of put that experience to somewhere at the back of your mind, and if you see them again, it means that they need to get to know you, want to get to know you. Remember always to say your protective prayer. Remember, we're not letting strangers into our house just because we're nice. We're not, so, be aware that, that you're in charge of it and it is not in charge of you. We can have a further and a deeper conversation about that at some point in the future if you'd like to. Let's move on. What?
Okay, I'm trying to get the gist of this because Denise made,
good morning, Denise,
like 7 comments, and I'm pretty sure they all run together. So give me 2 seconds.
Yeah. All right then. Literally 2 seconds. So Michelle is here trying to make the sense of something that Denise wrote to us. You have to understand, when it comes in bits and pieces, sometimes you'll say something and then somebody else will come in behind you, and then somebody else will come in behind you, then you say something else, and so it sometimes is not an easy thing to piece things together, but we do our very best. Did you get the gist?
She's responding to Kitty with asking if our spirit family thinks that we're needy or gets tired of us.
Okay.
And it says, I think our better selves are always working tirelessly, giving us signs that we ignore at our own determination. If you're
Detriment.
feeling needy or worried that someone will see you needy, what is your higher self showing you? Because I don't believe our spirit family will ever be biased enough to think that you need too much. They're on the side of unlimited giving, aren't they?
Okay. All right. Yeah. So thank you, Denise, for that. We can't quite understand everything you're saying because it's sort of a little bit piecemeal, but thank you for your input. But I think I answered Kitty's question anyway. So again, thank you, Denise. But I think we're pretty set on what I said. And of course, look, we think, I don't know why we think this, but we think that everyone in the spirit world is there just to give to us. How about us giving back to them? They're not there just to give to us. They're not an endless source of energy for us. They have emotions. They're people. They have emotions. They have needs. They have wants as well. They get upset if they see us upset. They are, connected to us in so many ways. They are people. They are not that spirit entity out there who can just take and take whatever we want to give to them. Having said that, love conquers everything. And Kitty, I know who it is that you want to connect to and who you're worried about. And there's so much love between you. You never have to worry that you are becoming a burden or a pain in the butt. But my suggestion about sort of slowing down and listening more is for your benefit, really. If you keep bombarding someone with questions, as I did with Grey Eagle, you're going to, you're going to miss out on what they're having to say to you. You're not necessarily listening enough. You're talking too much and not listening enough. All right, next comment or question.
Carol is on.
Here. Who?
Carol.
Good morning, Carol.
And she says, hi, Rosemary.
Hi.
I have a lot going on. Can you ask Grey Eagle what and why this is all taking place? I have patience, so I'm feeling that she's getting a little over everything that's going on with her.
Patience. Oh gosh, don't you hate it when people say patience? I am an incredibly patient person for some things. Amazingly patient, where so many people would completely lose their temper or lose their, rag over something. I can be the most incredibly patient person that you ever would wish to meet in certain circumstances. And I can, conversely, be the most impatient person with things that I think are trivial or a nonsense or for instance, someone's got a bigoted attitude towards someone, then my patience is over and done with. So we can all have patience and we can all, lose our patience. I'm going to say, Carol, I feel, according to what Grey Eagle tells me, you feel as if you're hanging on by your fingernails there, my love, and maybe that's how you feel. I think there's a bit more rough patch to come. Cling tight, hold tight. You'll get through it and you'll be better for it, but it's going to go on a little bit longer yet.
Deborah's on.
Morning, Deborah.
And she says, I'm thinking about retirement in the next 2 years. Do you see me being financially stable or will I have to continue to work?
I don't know. Who are you? Am I psychic? What do you think? I'm psychic? Let me ask Grey Eagle for you, my darling. We don't usually answer questions like this. However, you might be thinking about retirement in the next couple of years, but according to Grey Eagle, you're not actually ready yet. So you might have a little bit longer to go. But when the time is right, I'm asking Gregor, will she manage? Because, you know, there's nothing worse than the fear of sort of, you know, not being able to manage financially or otherwise, and nobody wants to be homeless or what have you. But there's no danger of that for you now, is there? You're going to manage, and you're going to manage very, very well. But I think at the moment, I think the idea of retirement is stronger than, I think it would drive you crazy. I don't think you're quite ready yet. So be patient, 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 and wait until you feel absolutely that is what you want to do. Next question.
Sarah.
Good morning, Sarah.
Says, when we die, we are reunited with our family. But what if you didn't get along with them?
Well, actually, I was just going to interrupt you and say not necessarily. So keep going then. So we're on the same track here.
But what if you didn't get along with them?
Right.
Do you have to meet and forgive them, or do you only meet loved ones?
I'm speaking from very personal experience. When my mother passed, I asked Grey Eagle, rightly or wrongly, you can have your own opinions. If you'd like to judge me, please go ahead and do it. You'll be judging me without knowing all of the facts, of course, but you know, there are some people who do love to judge others anyway. But I asked Grey Eagle, you know, I want my mother to be happy. That is the first and foremost thing that I said. I want her to be happy. I want her to see if she can find peace that she never ever had on this earth, that's for sure. I want her to find, if she can't find happiness, at least I would like to feel that she was contented, but I would like her to keep as far away from me as possible. I don't want to hear from her, and I don't want to connect with her in any way. I have my reasons, and in the years since that she's passed, I have not changed my mind in that regard. But I do want her to be happy. I would like to think of her being happy and well, and I am sure that my siblings feel very differently than I do, and would want to perhaps make a connection with my mother in some way. When it is my turn to go, I don't know if she'll turn up. If she turns up, I shall not turn away from her. I shall wish her well, and then I shall move on. You don't have to. And you know, and I had a patient once whose father died at the same time that roughly around the same time that my mother died. Her father had physically abused her in the worst ways. Broken bones, sexually and physically, broken bones, broken arm, broken leg, broken fingers, broken collarbone. Over the years, the abuse was dreadful. Why would she want to reunite with him? She was so worried when he died, because she talked to me and she said, well, what if he comes to me? What if he wants to talk to me? I don't want to talk to him. If you don't want to reunite with someone, if you don't want to talk to someone, no one is going to force you to do it at all. So I also had a client once who came to see me for a consultation, and her father was there, and she was severely physically abused by him. And I started to describe him, and she burst into tears, and she said to me, no, you've got to stop, I don't want to talk to him. So I talked to her and I said, if you don't want to talk to him, we won't talk to him. Maybe he has something to say to you. Maybe you don't care. Maybe whatever he has to say to you won't make any difference. So you have a choice. We can listen to him and see what he has to say, or I'll just turn him away. There was a reason that he was there, I felt sure, because Gregory would not have allowed him in had there not been a reason, a good reason. She eventually, after more than halfway through the consultation, she said, is he still there? And I said, yes, he's in the background. She said, well, I do want to hear what he has to say. So he said his piece, and she said, well, you know, I'm glad to hear it. It makes no difference to how I feel. I don't ever want to talk to him again. But I'm glad he had he said his piece, I was thrilled for her that she was the kind of person who would give him the benefit of the doubt. He actually did not say that he was sorry for everything that he'd done, because he said there's no point in me saying it because I should have never done it. And he talked about his learning and his growth, and he understood that didn't make any difference to her, but she gave him the opportunity to say what he needed to say, and then she moved on. So if anyone out there is, worried that you're going to have to meet someone or be with someone that you don't want to be with or you don't want to meet, please understand it won't happen unless you want it. It will not. Nobody's going to force you into a situation that you are afraid of. And abuse happens all the time. Why would we want to go to someone who terrified us in life? You've heard that saying, those in the spirit world, they didn't hurt you when they were here, so they won't hurt you when they're gone. Well, that's not always the case, is it? So you choose. You make your choices. Next question, Michelle.
Denise asks, do you think we gain all understanding when we die?
No, not at all. And moving on.
Our friend Hamilton is in Singapore.
Good morning, Hamilton in Singapore. I think it's good afternoon or even evening in Singapore.
No, it's Friday morning, about a little after midnight.
All right. I love Singapore. I used to love to go to Singapore. You see, I've come to Singapore. Invite me, Hamilton. I'll come to Singapore. It's a lovely place to live. A benign dictatorship, albeit, but still a nice place to be. The people are wonderful too. Yes, my love.
He said he went to Singapore to further his global philanthropy efforts. Please pray for my success, for you are an indirect partner with me.
Oh, I'm happy to be an indirect partner with you. Tell me what it is you're up to. Write to me, email us. I want to know more.
We haven't heard from him for a while.
I want to know more, Hamilton. Well, if he's travelling the globe, there are only so many times you can connect. One time, I've been to Singapore a few times, but one time when I was in Singapore, I went because they wanted to, the media wanted to interview me. They wanted to know what I was doing, why I was in the Far East, and so on and so forth. I had this lovely guy who came, recorded the show. He was actually British, and he was recording the show. And I said to him, can I ask you, because I've heard that they're going to, whatever it is that we say on this interview, the powers that be are going to listen to it and cut bits out that they don't like. And he said, well, yes, that's Singapore. And I don't know if it still is. It's been a long time since I've been there. That's what they do. And I said then, as much as I really like you and I'm enjoying our conversation, let's have something to eat and a nice drink or something, because I'm not going to do the interview with you. I didn't want anyone to be doctoring my words and so on. So Singapore is a wonderful country, wonderful people. I'm sure you'll learn a lot, Hamilton, there. The culture is quite different and unusual. It's the first time in Singapore that I ever went swimming in the rain. All by myself. Nobody else wanted to come with me. And when I say rain, I mean you couldn't see through the rain. So that's how Singapore is when it rains. I mean, it's just so dense. But it was a fabulous experience. I was in the pool all by myself, a great big pool all by myself in the rain. It was lovely. So enjoy your stay there, my darling.
He just wrote in, Rosemary and Michelle will come.
Oh, we'll come. Hey, yeah. Tell us where to come. We'll come, right, Michelle?
He said he'll send us an email with more details.
Woohoo! Let's.
I'm pretty sure my husband won't like that.
Unless he can come too. Let's go.
All right. Deborah is on. She says, I've had a fear of flying and plane crash dreams as long as I can remember. I'm now 59 years old. How do I get past this so I can explore our beautiful world?
Can I tell you exactly how? Because when I first flew, which is a long time ago, I was so terrified, and I had all of those dreams as well, and the crashes, all of that. And I can remember it wasn't even a long flight. We went to Spain, and I was so scared. I was trembling in my boots, but I so wanted to go and to travel. So we got to the airport, and my daughter was at the time, she was the same age as my grandson is now, so she was 5 or 6 years old, 6 years old I think, and my husband at the time, I mean, I couldn't speak. I was so terrified I couldn't speak. So he said, well, let's have a drink. So at the time I drank rum and coke, so he got me a rum and coke. I got on that plane. I was so happy to get on that plane, and it was great. And actually, there was an incident on the plane as the plane was landing in Spain. I don't want to put you off here, but as the plane was landing, it sort of tilted, the wing tilted, and everybody on the plane was, ah, like this, because they thought we were going to crash. And I was the only one on the plane saying, wow, look at that. You know, that's great. What I didn't realize that rum and coke was a triple rum and coke, so it sort of just took the edge off all the fear, and I've loved flying ever since. I'm not suggesting you get drunk before you get on the plane, but it did help. You can also get a pill from the doctor that sort of calms you and so on. You can eat lettuce sandwiches because the milk in the lettuce also really sort of is calming. Lettuce milk is brilliant for sort of anxiety. There are lots of things you can do, but for goodness sake, overcome it and get on that plane. If you crash and burn, my love, it's because it was your time. I don't think it is your time. I don't think you're actually going to die on a plane. Get yourself off there. This world is too beautiful for you not to explore and to see all the wonderful things that are out there. That's so. And if you decide to go, email me and we'll put you on our list. We'll keep you as safe as we possibly can. How about that? Right. Any more questions? Anything else going on?
There's only one more question.
Let's go for it then.
Two.
By the time we finish, there'll be 3 or 4, but go on.
Donna would like you to go over on how to get a consultation with you again.
Who?
Donna.
Donna? Email me, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. You know this, my darling. Email me, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. Put in the subject line, consultation. And then Michelle will know exactly how to deal with it. If you want to be on our mailing list, we don't if you think that by emailing me that you're going to be put automatically on the mailing list, that's not going to happen. So you need to put, if you want to be on the mailing list, and there are good reasons why you might want to be on the mailing list, because then you'll know what's going on, you'll know about the competitions that we do, you'll know when it is that we're going to be doing our online conferences, you'll know all of that stuff. And we don't send out more than 4 or 5, sometimes 6 emails in a month. You're not going to be inundated every day with emails from us, but you do have to request, because we won't put you on the email list unless you request. So, email us and say in the subject line, email list, or email, or, mailing list, whatever it is. And then, what happens is all of these emails come through. You can imagine we have a lot of emails. And they come through, and as soon as we look at the subject line, Michelle knows exactly where to put this, this, and this, and then she spends time dealing with all of that stuff, then she spends time dealing with all of that stuff, and so on and so forth. So if you want a consultation, put in consultation. If you want to be on the mailing list, put mailing list. If you would like healing and for us to send you healing, put healing. So, just make sure in the subject line, and we will do our very best. But Donna, email me, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com, and we shall get you your consultation as soon as we possibly can.
We have one last question. This is going to be the end of it for today.
All right.
And it's from a lovely woman by the name of Cindy. And she says,
good morning, Cindy.
Is it possible to get a message from my mother? She said that she was going to haunt me.
Oh, well, Cindy, my mother used to tell me she was going to haunt me. Luckily, she doesn't. Cindy, I I'm listening to Grey Eagle with this one. So, first of all, this is such a weird thing. You're going to think, Cindy, you're going to think I'm so weird. Um, but Grey Eagle is talking to me, and sort of this information is coming, I think, from Grey Eagle, but also I think your mother is somewhere here in the background, and I want to know what this thing is about your teeth. This, I don't know if you needing to get you to go to the dentist or get your teeth fixed. I would love to spend more time on this, but I can't. But there's something about teeth that is very relevant. I'd love to hear back from you. If you think I'm crazy, please say something. But there's something about teeth and somebody needing to, something about the back of the teeth is an issue. If you understand what I'm talking about, then you should know that, you know, your mum is safe and well, and not only that, she can see you and she can see what's going on. And now I'm hearing, get it fixed, get it fixed, get it fixed. So I know that either you or someone close to you needs to get their teeth fixed, or maybe you've just had them fixed. We'd love to hear from you and to see if you know what I'm talking about. Please say, yeah, you can do it now, right? We can wait a minute.
No.
Pardon?
She said no.
She didn't understand what I'm saying. All right, well, I'm going to tell you again because it's very clear, very relevant, very, you know, important apparently. There's something about the teeth, the back of your mouth here, and to get something fixed. So that's the message. That's all I've got. If I had more time, we'd do more, and it's okay if you said no, because
Give her the email and have her email us.
yeah, email me, rosemary@rosemaryaLtea.com. And I'm not going to go into it anymore, though. Let me tell you, that's it. But if you understand what on earth it is I'm jabbering on about, because so many times somebody like me will give a message, or they'll hear something very clear, very relevant, and I did hear someone shouting, get it fixed, get it fixed. So, and Gregor has his hand on my shoulder, so I know that that's correct information. I just don't know what I'm talking about. We've only got a couple of minutes to deal with it anyway, but it's very often the case, even when you have a consultation with someone and you're talking to them for however long, 50 minutes, an hour, often it goes on for much longer than that. We know that, don't we, Michelle?
Mm-hmm.
But even then, and you say something to someone and they simply don't know what it is we're talking about, but then they go away, they talk to their family, or they've recorded it, or they play it for someone, and that other person is, oh my gosh, that's exactly what they were talking about. So I'm pretty sure you'll know at some point what it is I'm talking about. Let us know. And that's it. And now we are that's it, we're over, we're done. Okay, what's the matter with you? Michelle has been wonderful today. She's been smiling away. She's still sitting on the floor, but all right, if you want to know more about my books, my latest book, A Walk in the Clouds, email us. We'll tell you exactly where you can get the books from. If you want to know more about the meditation CDs, likewise. If you would like to be on the mailing list, have healing, etc., and all of that stuff, whatever it is, if you want to know when the conferences are, or if you want to be put on our list, so that as soon as the conferences are organized, we'll definitely put you on that list, then we'll do that. If you would like to have me mention when we do our healing sessions at the moment they're on Wednesdays in the afternoons, if you'd like to know, or you'd like me to mention you, or to mention someone that you know needs healing, please again email us and make sure you put in the subject line healing, and we'll know exactly what it is that we're dealing with. I will be with Al Pisano tomorrow. Where are we? Friday. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Everything is Attitude show. I'm not sure if we've got a guest or not. I think we might have, but I'm not sure. If you want to know any more about us, or you have any questions of any kind, or you want to know more about the books, or where you can get the books from, please again email us rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. In the meantime, thank you for being wonderful. We love having you. I can see people are already, some people are asking more questions, but we're done, and because we've been on for over an hour now, so we're going to get kicked off very soon anyway. So thank you for watching. Please have a very, very blessed rest of the day, and bless you.
Thank you.
And also the weekend is coming up, so please have a very, very blessed and wonderful weekend. Don't forget, please, attitude is everything. Look for the joy. If you look for it, all you have to do is find a small child. Any child will do. Find a small child who is giggling or laughing or smiling, and you'll find joy in life. So
Just replay this, you'll hear us laughing.
what?
I said replay this, you'll hear us laughing.
Yeah, we're finding the joy, yeah, aren't we? Michelle's sneezing and coughing and all the rest of it, but we're finding the joy in life. Please find the joy in life and have a very, very blessed rest of the day and a very blessed weekend. And we'll see you again next time. And I've now got to look at that button, and there we are. Oh, no, that's not right, is it? It's the top one. There we go. And yeah, who knows? And end.